We're a matched and perfect set.
Never separated yet.
Remember when the Flintstones went full James Bond? That 1966 theatrical movie wasn't just another bedrock adventure. It was spy thriller madness with Stone Age gadgets and Cold War paranoia.
I hope the girls have everything packed. I'm anxious to get started.
Me too.
The man called Flintstone took Fred from his quarry job straight into international espionage, and the behind-the-scenes story is even wilder than the plot. Let's count down 20 shocking facts about this prehistoric spy caper. 20. The desperate theatrical gamble. Hanna-Barbera was bleeding money by 1966, and the man called Flintstone—
Oh yeah, Doc, Fred Flintstone. He fell on his head.
I'm okay now, Doc. I feel fine.
wasn't artistic ambition, it was financial desperation. The studio needed a theatrical hit to stay afloat after TV profits declined. They bet everything on Fred's big-screen debut, hoping movie tickets could save the company. The pressure was immense. Failed at the box office, and Hanna-Barbera faced potential closure, making this cartoon a literal survival mission. 19. The original series was already canceled. Here's the twist. The Flintstones TV show had already been canceled when this movie hit theaters. ABC pulled the plug after 6 seasons in April 1966, and the film premiered that August. Audiences were essentially watching a movie starring characters from a dead show. It's like releasing a theatrical Spider-Man film 3 months after canceling the series. The movie was both a goodbye and a desperate resurrection attempt. 18. The Real-Life Spy. It parodied The Man Called Flintstone, directly spoofed the James Bond craze sweeping 1960s cinema, specifically targeting Thunderball and Goldfinger. But the parody went deeper than gadgets. It mimicked Sean Connery's swagger, exotic locations, and over-the-top villains. Fred literally becomes a Bond-style agent because he looks identical to Secret Agent Rock Slag.
They think they finished me off. They don't know how tough we secret agents are.
The entire plot hinges on doppelganger espionage, making it a Stone Age bodied double thriller with dinosaur-powered martinis. 17. The Voice Crisis. Behind the scenes. Alan Reed voiced Fred Flintstone for the movie, but here's the production nightmare.
Go back! Go back! I already contributed at the store!
Reed was battling serious health issues during recording. The studio had backup plans ready in case he couldn't finish, including potentially replacing Fred's voice mid-production. Reed powered through, but the strain shows in certain scenes where Fred's voice sounds noticeably different. They literally didn't know if their star would survive the recording sessions. Talk about working under pressure. 16. The animation budget was embarrassingly low. Despite being a theatrical release, The Man Called Flintstone had a pathetic budget of roughly $2 million, pocket change even for 1966 cinema. Disney's animated features cost 5 times that amount. Hanna-Barbera tried stretching TV animation techniques onto the big screen, and it showed painfully. The limited animation, recycled backgrounds, and cost-cutting shortcuts made it look cheap compared to competitors. They basically sold TV quality at movie prices, hoping nostalgia would compensate. 15. The musical numbers were padding. The film included multiple musical sequences totaling nearly 20 minutes of its 89-minute runtime. These weren't artistic choices, they were budget padding. Musical numbers required less complex animation than action sequences, letting Hanna-Barbera fill screen time cheaply. Songs like Pensate Amore ate up precious minutes while characters stood relatively still.
Pensate, amore, think love,
Singing instead of moving. It's the animation equivalent of a student stretching a paper with extra spacing and wider margins. 14. The Cold War paranoia was real. The movie's spy plot wasn't just parody, it reflected genuine 1960s Cold War anxiety. The villain's organization, the Green Goose, represented real fears about communist infiltration and international espionage. Kids watched Fred combat shadowy foreign agents while their parents lived under actual nuclear threat. The film weaponized contemporary geopolitical terror for cartoon comedy, making light of anxieties that kept American families building fallout shelters in their backyards. 13. Wilma's controversial bikini scene. During the Paris sequence, Wilma appears in a two-piece bathing suit that caused surprising controversy. Network censors had strictly controlled Wilma's TV wardrobe for 6 seasons, but theatrical release meant freedom from broadcast standards. Conservative parent groups complained that Wilma's exposed midriff was inappropriate for children's entertainment. The bikini became a minor scandal, proving that even cartoon cavewomen could trigger 1960s moral panic about female bodies and propriety. 12. The international box office disaster. The Man Called Flintstone bombed spectacularly overseas, especially in European markets where the Flintstones TV show had minimal penetration. Foreign audiences didn't understand the Bond parody without context, and the American suburban humor translated poorly across cultures. The international failure killed Hanna-Barbera's dreams of becoming a theatrical animation powerhouse. They'd gambled on global appeal and lost badly, retreating permanently back to television where they belonged. 11. The abandoned sequel plans. Before the movie even premiered, Hanna-Barbera had drafted plans for a sequel titled The Flintstones Meet Rockula and Frankenstone. It would have been a monster movie parody following the spy thriller formula. Those plans evaporated when box office numbers came in disastrously low. The sequel died in pre-production, and the monster concept was later recycled into a cheap TV special instead. Fred's theatrical career ended before it began. 10. The racist caricature. Nobody Talks About the Paris nightclub sequence features a stereotypical exotic dancer character with deeply offensive racial caricature design. This background character embodied the worst of 1960s animation racism: exaggerated features, stereotypical movements, and dehumanizing portrayal. Modern re-releases quietly edit or crop these scenes, but the original theatrical version included blatantly racist imagery that would be absolutely unacceptable today. It's the dark side of innocent vintage cartoons nobody wants to acknowledge. 9. The theme song replaced the classic. Instead of using the iconic Flintstones TV theme, the movie opened with an entirely new song that confused audiences expecting the familiar Flintstones Meet the Flintstones jingle.
Flintstones meet the Flintstones, they're the Flintstone family.
The replacement theme never caught on, and most fans hated the change. It's like releasing a new Star Wars movie without the opening crawl music. The decision alienated loyalists who wanted comfort food nostalgia, not experimental rebranding for theatrical pretensions. 8. The travelogue sequences were stock footage. Those exotic location scenes showing Paris, Rome, and other European cities, mostly recycled stock footage from other productions, with Flintstones characters crudely animated over top. Hanna-Barbera couldn't afford original background animation for international settings, so they literally traced over existing film and photographs. It's the animation equivalent of green screen fraud, selling audiences a European vacation, while characters stood in front of cheap projections of stolen imagery. 7. The villain's death was unusually dark. The Green Goose's final confrontation ends with him falling to his apparent death, a surprisingly grim conclusion for a children's movie. Unlike TV episodes where villains were arrested or escaped, this film showed fatal consequences. The plunge was animated with unsettling detail, and the implication of death remained unambiguous. It's darker than most Disney villain deaths, proving Hanna-Barbera tried pushing boundaries when freed from network censorship restrictions. 6. The voice cast was partially replaced. Not all original TV voice actors returned for the movie. Several supporting characters got replacement voices due to budget constraints or scheduling conflicts. Die-hard fans noticed immediately that certain characters sounded off, but Hanna-Barbera hoped casual audiences wouldn't detect the substitutions. It's like a movie sequel where half the cast gets quietly recast, and producers pray nobody notices. The inconsistency broke immersion for anyone paying attention to vocal performances. 5. The political satire was more biting than expected. Beneath the spy parody, The Man Called Flintstone contained surprisingly sharp political commentary about American imperialism and government incompetence. The Secret Service recruits Fred through deception, manipulates him into dangerous missions, and treats him as disposable. It's a cynical view of how governments exploit ordinary citizens for Cold War games. For a kids' movie, the anti-establishment subtext was remarkably bold, almost subversive for 1966 family entertainment. 4. The deleted scenes were actually better test screenings, revealed that several deleted sequences were more entertaining than what made the final cut. But they got chopped anyway for runtime and budget. Storyboards show extended chase sequences and better developed villain backstory that would have improved the film significantly. Hanna-Barbera chose cheap and fast over quality, leaving superior material on the cutting room floor. Those lost scenes remain locked in studio archives, representing the better movie this could have been. 3. The behind-schedule production nightmare. The Man Called Flintstone was delivered to theaters barely finished, with animation completed just weeks before premiere. The rushed timeline showed inconsistent character designs, continuity errors, and unpolished scenes plagued the film. Animators worked brutal overtime, and the stress caused several staff departures during production. It's a textbook case of animation crunch culture before that term existed, sacrificing quality and worker well-being for an unrealistic deadline nobody should have accepted. 2. The soundtrack album flopped. Harder Than the Movie Columbia Records released a soundtrack album that sold even worse than the movie's box office performance. The musical numbers nobody liked in theaters translated even more poorly to vinyl, where listeners couldn't ignore how weak the songs were without visual distraction. Thousands of unsold albums got renamed and destroyed, making original pressings accidentally rare today. It's a double failure, bombing in theaters, then bombing again in record stores. 1. The movie almost killed Hanna-Barbera. The Man Called. Flintstone's catastrophic failure nearly bankrupted Hanna-Barbera entirely. The studio had invested desperately needed capital into theatrical distribution, marketing, and production, expecting returns that never materialized. Losses forced massive layoffs, project cancellations, and a complete abandonment of theatrical ambitions. Hanna-Barbera survived only by crawling back to television and accepting their limitations. This wasn't just a bad movie. It was an existential crisis that almost destroyed one of animation's biggest studios. From desperate financial gambits and racist caricatures to political subtext and near bankruptcy, The Man Called Flintstone packed more chaos behind the scenes than on screen. If these prehistoric spy secrets blew your mind, smash that subscribe button and help us keep digging up the wildest animation history. Keep your spy gadgets polished and your Stone Age martinis shaken.